All right, so we're making a plate. We're going to be UV mapping this plate and making it look nice or relatively nice. So let's grab a texture offline, then we can throw it into Photoshop, take off the textures and throw it back into Maya. So let's look for a plate. Yeah. So I'm looking for one with a nice pattern. I used this one before. We can look for one that has an interesting pattern. Something circular. So I'll be very specific with my search. Plate circular. So this one looks real nice, but it's, got watermarks all over it. Free pick. Here's a nice one. We'll use this one. How's this one? Good stuff? Cool. So it's a technique that matters not the actual shape or the color of the plate. So once I find that, of course, there's more for me to look through. I don't want to do that. I literally want to rip the pattern off something. So I can show you how you can do the same thing. Because you might take a picture of your own plate at home and decide to make it. Here's what I'll do. I'll just use the same old. Right? So this is free pick. I'm just going to borrow this. It might be smaller than I want it to be. And I don't want a small one. I actually want a good one. Yeah? Anything with a pattern on it. Yeah, we're doing a UV for the plate. So I'm showing you how to rip UVs off, like example. So example, let's change this. I'm going to choose tools, size, large. And we just need to find one that doesn't have a thing. So here's one that says Raccoon Willow. I like this one. Of course, all props to the person who made it. It's really nice looking. I'm going to borrow this. So I'm going to copy this image. It's 1024 by 1024. And as we said about UV images, you kind of want them to be, you want them to be square. So save image as, or rather copy image. Jump into Photoshop, hit new. Once it's in your clipboard, the size is gonna be the same. Press OK, and just paste that in with Control V. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Photoshop, Photoshop. Clearly. So here we have our raccoon. Now what we want is we want to get rid of all the white that we don't want in this whole thing and make it one clear thing, right? So here's what we'll do. I recommend doing this whenever you're making selections with things like these. Select color range, hit the white, hold shift to add to your selection. Yes, Photoshop. This is the old version, sorry. Okay, yeah. So once that's done, I'm gonna just delete all the white in the area. I get something really clean, really crisp. And my background is white and I'm gonna leave it white. I also want to produce another part of it. I want to create a black and white version of this. That way I can choose where I want my glossiness to happen versus where I don't want it to happen. So here's what I'll do. I'm going to save this one first. Save as. And inside here, I recently multimedia, Maya, image modeling, source images. I'm going to create one for dinner set because I already have one already. PNG, I have those two already. What I want is I want this. I'll call this raccoon plate, right? And I'll call it raccoon plate diffuse, right? Next, let's convert this to black and white. Except when we convert to black and white, we want the whole thing to be solid black, solid white. And I'll tell you why. So we press CTRL while clicking on the thumbnail of the layer. What that does is it actually selects the whole thing. And I'm going to hide that. Change it to black and white. If I do that, I'm going to start getting a few, what do you call it if you look closely? Shading in there, which is kind of cool. If you want it to look like that, that's cool too. But what I want at the end of the day is when I look at this, I want to add an adjustment called invert, and I get something more like this, right? And the thing about UV mapping is that we know that we can always put colors on things. What if you want to influence a part of for example, you want the part with the raccoon standing on the do that? Well, essentially the black part is going to be labeled as zero, as in the green for this part, the black part is going to be the part that's labeled as 1. And any errors in between is just a value between 0 and 1. So if you know that 0 is nothing and 1 is the fullness of everything, then it is somewhere in between. So I'm going to save this also as 1 raccoon plate specular, right? And because the white part of the raccoon is the part we want to be shiny, everything else is going to be basically not shiny. Okay? So those two are saved. What else? We can add a few more things. Example, if you want to show cracks and grit, we can always add a few more things. I'll just do one more. I'm going to use my, I'm going to group everything first. Control G. And I'm going to create a mask. And in that mask, I'm going to generate um, something else. Filter, render, clouds. Looks like this. And I kind of want to just be doing a thing like this. Right, just to have a bit of something else. Now the rest of the plate, right, I want inside to be, well, I'll leave it as is. The file save as, let's call it Raccoon other, because I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this yet. So save and that. Cool. So we have those three maps. What we'll be doing afterwards, and I think I'm still recording. Yep, that's great. Just checking. Hit that button. So we already have our plate, which is cool. And I'm going to put in my Arnold Render. Well, right now if we render it, we get nothing as usual because there's no lighting. But if we go to Arnold and choose lights, I'm going to choose a sky dome light. Right? Hit that. What we get is something completely white. And it looks more like this. So I'm just taking you through the steps by rendering it a little bit at a time. So it looks like this, very boring, very plain, very gray. Nothing's on there. Thank you, OBS. All right, let's add ourselves a new material. So object mode, first of all, right click on this, choose assign new material, and we're going to choose AI standard surface. That's going to give me a white, but in my attribute editor, it doesn't come out super realistic. We just jump into the hypershade. And from the hypershade, make sure you have the Arnold not hardware settings on. You can use a shader ball or any other options you want. Let's see what the teapot looks like. That looks real nice. Real nice. Alright. So on the plate itself, we actually want the raccoon shading thing. So I'm going to go like this. One, we have here base, and we want to change the color of the base. Right? And this is going to be a file, and that file is going to be, well, I have something for a plate. I'm going to use this raccoon plate diffuse. Raccoon plate Where are you? Diffuse. Here we go. Open. And practically that's almost it. Except this is what happens. And that's not what we want. It looks cool, but I mean, it's styling because let's look at the UV map and you will see. You'll notice here, every single face is the whole thing, right? So basically, what we're seeing in the UV map is something looking like this, right? So I choose face selection mode. The whole face of everything is the whole thing. And we don't actually want that. So here's what we need to do. One, I'm going to have to start by creating some themes. So one, I'll just highlight everything. And for UVs, we're going to throw UV edges. That's going to make everything one thing, which is not what we want either, because it still looks weird. What we're going to do afterwards, what we're going to do afterwards is, here we go. And that looks cool too. What we're doing now is we'll go to this shape here that we have, and we're gonna go edges. What we're gonna do is we're gonna actually cut our own UVs out of it. So I'm just gonna create an edge here. So click on one, double click. What we have is this selected. I'm gonna turn off this so you can see a little more clearly. It's the regular one, but we need to cut our own UVs first. So I'm creating an edge here. I'm selecting an edge around here. And what I'm gonna tell it to do is UV, cut UV edges. So right now, if I hit right click and I choose UV shell, I have my plate split into one part and two parts. So now if I actually select my UV map again, UV editor, sorry, UV editor, right? Wait, what are you doing? UV, no, no. I'm gonna choose, now that I have that, I'm gonna choose tools. There's an option that says unfold, right? So I'm gonna unfold these guys. UV, unfold, unfold, unfold. There we go. Something kind of like this. Oh, and I forgot one more thing. I'll do it camera based, so we'll see this. So I'm gonna go to top view because this is my best bet for this. Top view looks like this, right? And I'll go UV camera based. It's gonna generate for me one big giant thing here, but I have two. So that's for one part, and the bottom part now. Shell. We're gonna do that one also camera based. So now both of them are there. Here's what we're left with. Looking at this shape. Perspective view. It is good to know what you're seeing before you confirm what you are seeing. Here we are. Or little raccoon. So the thing is, because both of them are resting on top of each other, it's going to be the same at the bottom as well. Right, but we don't want that either. So I'm going to select this. I'm actually going to scale this in so that it comes out more on the plate. Right, and probably, yeah, because it's kind of more to the edges. So we just move that. like so. Look better? Better. Now the opposite side, the bottom, the base, the whatever. Scale that up, or scale it down rather, till I have only one section that's completely white, which is probably down here. Right? So that way that raccoon doesn't affect the whole thing. Right? And then we close that. When you render this out now, Arnold Render, you get that plate that looks like a plate. My, so amazing. Now there's more we want to do with this. Remember we said we want to make one part shiny, one part not so shiny? Alright, so because the UV map is like this, basically because the UV maps are the same shape, when you apply another image, it's gonna take the same exact location. And because the two raccoons are pretty much the same exact image except tweaked, then there's less we need to do. So underneath the hypershade, what we'll do for the AI standard, which I'm gonna rename to Raccoon. What we'll do for the metalness, so instead of using nothing, just gonna hit that, choose file. File this time is going to be, I call it specular because I want to see what it would look like with specular, but I think I want to play with the metalness of it. So white is gonna show more metallic, black is gonna show no metallic, gray is gonna show somewhere in between. So press open, that's what we get. So that is what it looks like now. I don't know if I see a difference. That's because the plate is white. So here's what I'm going to try. I'm going to change the lamp that I have from sky dome light, and I'm going to put in a regular lamp, a boring old what you call it, light, a light, area light, and I'll just rotate that a smidge, like so. Pull this back, like right. Let's see what it looks like now that we are doing it. And I'll just add one more thing, surface for it to rest on, just so, and see what Arnold will do for me. Right, it's rendering out. So the plate, like we said, is still white. That's why I want to see so much metallicity. Let's see if we tweak the direction. Ooh, that's too far. But that's okay. I know it works. Huh. Next, let's start playing with something else besides metallicity. I'm gonna play with instead the. I'll take off metalness. Just right click on it and choose break connection and change specularity. It's gonna lower the metalness to zilch or very little. But for the specular, weight is what controls how much shine it has, right? Not so much the color. So for the weight, we're gonna just right click on this. Here we are, texture, file. It opens a file. Which file we're gonna be using? Raccoon plate specular. Let's play with that instead. Right, so that's my weight. It's based on the image. I have IOR as well. But let me see if this does anything at all. So if I'm right about this, only the raccoon should be shiny, the plate should be diffuse. So just increase the metalness and see if anything happens. Yay, things that I can't see. Okay, Have fun. Uh, I know. I did it once. Wait, why is the sky still? Oh, that's why I'm not seeing anything. Okay, it's starting to make more sense now. Okay, would you look at that? I'll just increase the amount of light. Render that. And if you want to know if specular is working, the part that's supposed to be showing is specular is the raccoon. So let's see. It shines on the rim, not on the raccoon. I think it works. All right, let's move on. There should be a material or an attribute. What time we have left? Well, time's almost up, so I think we should just wrap it up. I'm gonna change my. I know what I want to do. Let's have fun with it a little, shall we? For my weight, because I can make the thing glow. I think this will be the best example of showing you what I really want to show you. So let's choose our image name as, remember the same plate we had before for specular, which has black. Let's make the raccoon part glow and the other part not glow. So we do that. That I'm gonna hide this lamp. Arnold Render. Ooh, that's too much light. Let's change that by tweaking the weight of lead. Where is it? Emission. It's too much, much too much. I cannot say why this is not working. Oh, let's change the color instead. There we go. You know that part of what happens if I shine it on the ground though? You get raccoon reflections. Generating light. Light, I would guess, would be in the shape of a raccoon. See? It's glowing more here than there. You could always change the color of the material as well, or the color of the light. Perhaps we can make it glow the same color as the plate. Call it the avatar plate. Let's turn off this panel render so we can that glue. Change emission color is that. Weight, okay. Well, that's how that works. Hopefully you learned something. I don't like this part. And that will be all for today.